Today we continue our exploration into walking the path of life rather than the path of death, the path of righteousness rather than the path of wickedness, the path of wisdom rather than the path of folly. We are exploring a basic foundational truth from the early church of two paths. Jesus, which we'll talk about tomorrow, Jesus carried this through. The wise man built his house upon the right path. The foolish man built his house upon the wrong path. This analogy, who knows where it actually started, but Psalm 1 presents it, and then it is carried over into the Didache. We've covered Origen, a church father, and his view. His view was insightful and beneficial. Then we covered Tertullian and his view being in front of the backdrop of Roman persecution. Now, Cyprian of Carthage lived from 200 to 258, and he was a bishop and a martyr, and he applied Psalm 1 in relationship to the church, or if you want, he applied it ecclesiologically. He applied the two paths to the church world. For example, drawing on Psalm 1's image of the congregation of the righteous versus the congregation of the wicked. His view was that Psalm 1 was also beneficial for the collection of Christians known as the church. And the church can walk on the path of righteousness, or the church can walk on the path of wickedness. In other words, he viewed schism or division, the fracturing of the community of Christ, was a way of choosing the path of death, because it severs believers from the tree planted by living waters. For Cyprian, the church is the tree. The church is the tree planted by the streams of living water. And anything that you do that divides people from that tree is the pathway of death for Cyprian. And he was very interested. Obviously, the church was forming and taking shape and into more organized structures, let's say, and division was very common. And every guy who floated down the pike had a new theology. And by the way, one of the pastor's lead jobs in a congregation, or one of the leaders, maybe the lead pastor, generally speaking, is to guard the theology from all the crazy things that float down the pike. Of the Didache's two ways, or the Psalms' two ways, Cyprian was particularly attentive to its teaching on giving and on generosity. He was very interested on giving and on generosity, because as a church, which in his view was the tree of Psalm 1, the way of life produces open-handed generosity. If you are living the wise life, you're generous. If you're living the righteous life, you're generous. The Didache has several strong rebukes to people that ask for money for ministry. I have an upcoming Facebook post that I've already prepared that it quotes the Didache of saying, if a prophet leaves, he should leave only with bread. If he leaves having asked for money, he is a false prophet. This is from the earliest discipleship manual that we have. So Cyprian was tuned into that part of the Didache. And he said, the way of death produces hoarding, exploitation, and the use of spiritual authority for financial gain. It's a interesting situation how far the Western church has come from this. Years ago, I was a young pastor, and this guy came, and he wanted to sing at our church. I said, we're already booked. Oh, I just want to sing a song or two. So he sang. I let him sing. I wish I hadn't, but I did. I let him sing. I was about 1986, maybe, 85, 86. And I think we gave him $1,500, I think, which was more than my monthly salary, or right about my monthly salary. And we gave him $1,500. And I was at after church. We went out to eat, and I gave him the check. He opened it. He pushed it back and said, "I'm sorry, I was expecting more than this." And for me, that was $750 a song in 1986. He sang 2 songs, and he wasn't that good of a singer, by the way. And if I said his name, most of our audience would go, "Oh, him." But the point is, he had become disconnected, let's say, from the teachings of the Didache. He was wanting to exchange singing 2 songs for financial gain. In Cyprian's view, the way of the wicked produces hoarding, exploitation, and the use of spiritual authority for financial gain. Brothers and sisters, don't sell Jesus. Jesus isn't for sale. Thank you, military men, for coming back. I don't see the planes in the camera, but we appreciate your service. The whole idea of, I have a cartoon. It's a guy, worship leader. He's on a stage. It's all pencil, just no pictures or anything, but it's an image of a guy on a stage in the spotlight. He said, "I want to praise Jesus for giving me this song, and if you use it, I'll sue your pants off." The idea of selling ministry, the idea of exchanging Jesus for finances, was something Cyprian was highlighting out of the Didache as part of the way of the wicked. This mapped directly into Cyprian's pastoral battles with lapsed Christians and corrupt clergy in Carthage. Excuse me. So, as we consider the pathways that we can choose, let's be mindful of the pathway of not bringing division to the body of Christ. It's better for us to do everything in our power to not bring division to the body of Christ. And secondly, we can bring division, and we can harm get away from the tree that produces life in Psalm 1 by becoming marketable, by seeking to sell the gospel, to preach to the highest bidder, so to speak. So, brothers and sisters, may we learn from Cyprian of Carthage that we don't want to bring division, and we don't want to market the gospel. We want to serve Christ